welcome to class. So make sure you're sitting next to your partner because you may want to work with them on some of the work time options today. Today we're going to start off with some classwork. This should take you to about movement break. So the goal is to finish during the first half of class so the second half of class can be dedicated to work time. There's some options. We're going to move on to part 3, the innovation. Whatever you don't finish in class will be homework. And also you'll have time to build and program your robot. This is important to use this time since this is not something you can do at home. So a reminder that your homework is finishing part 3 innovation. If you're in quest 1, it's due Thursday, and quest 2, that's due Friday. So here is the classwork. This is posted on Toddle. It's pretty straightforward. You'll need headphones for this, so if you need to use some or borrow some or put on closed captioning. So there's a series of videos. You click the link to watch the video and you just answer the questions that go along from the video. So there's part A, B, C, and D. This is all on Toddle, so whenever you're finished with this, you can click Turn In and move into some of the work time options. If you want, you can pause this video here and work on this, or you can watch the whole video and then jump into the work. Once you finish the classwork currents that's due today, you can choose some of the other things. One option is to edit your Part 2 technology. I adjust the due date so it is due at the end of class. I wanted to show you an example, a student example of a really getting it of Part 2 technology. So remember, your goal was to answer the 4 questions and also try to get enough information and detail that you fill up the box that I provided. So if you want, you can pause and read this student example and see if yours is about the same level, then that's great. If you want to go ahead and unsubmit and edit and then resubmit your Part 2 technology, yours will not count as late. Don't forget to have at least 2 or 3 sources. If you have more, that's great. Now, if you're ready to move on to part 3, you're finished with classwork, the currents, you're happy with your part 2 technology, and you want to use some of this time to talk with your partner and work on innovation, then this is what I'll go over next. So there is an assignment on Toddle that goes over this, but for part 3, your group is going to focus on coming up with something that will help your specific community, so the community that you chose in the beginning. It can be a totally new technology, or it could be an improved warning and predicting system, a better way to communicate during a disaster, or a more efficient way to rebuild after a natural disaster has occurred. So this innovation can be one that makes life better by improving something that already exists, using something that exists in the world but in a new way, or inventing something totally new. So you need to first learn about the current solutions, that's the beginning, and then how can your solution help keep people and property safe before, during, or after a natural disaster? For example, could your solution shorten the time it takes to repair and rebuild? Or could it prevent a natural event from becoming a disaster? In general, you want to reduce the impact of natural events on people and the places they live, work, and play. So in this, once you have figured out and done some research and brainstorming with your partner, you're going to answer the following prompts on the Google Doc. So question 1 is about which community, so this is the one that you've selected. If you change your mind, let's say you had one city in mind, but as you do research, you want to focus on another city, this is your time to make that change. You want to answer what makes your hazard a disaster in this community, so giving some examples of when hurricanes had hit this area, or when was the last big fire in this area, or avalanche. So you're really giving some examples and being specific from the past. Then it's number 3 and number 4 and number 5 is all about your innovation. So you're explaining how you can help, explain how your innovation helps, and then you're going to include a sketch or diagram. This is an example of a Really Getting It innovation. So the student has answered all of the questions and included a sketch. Note that this sketch doesn't have to be your final draft. It's just a sketch to let me know what you're thinking about and allow me to visualize it. For your final project, you'll have a more detailed sketch or diagram to go along with your trifold poster. If you'd like, you can pause here and read this and get to know what a level 3, or what a Really Getting It for part 3 would be. The last option for work time is to build your robot and program. So if you are still building, I recommend spending your work time on finishing building your robot. There are 3 parts to that. So if you're still building the drive base, that's the main robot piece. It's called Get Moving. If you're working on going straight for 84 centimeters, that's the moves and curves. That's under one of the unit plans. And then if you're ready to build the robot claw, that's under grab and release. A few notes about the building and programming. If you need extra parts, I have it in the corner of the room. I have different extra parts. Just take what you need. If your batteries are low, you're going to have to open your robot, replace with new batteries, and put the dead batteries in the bag to be recycled. I know I'm not here to help, so find someone who's a little bit ahead of you, and if you have questions, they can help you find the pieces or know what to do next. If you're still building your robot and you're not sure where to start, you click the Start Here button once you open up the EV3 Classroom. Then you click on the building a driving base, that's under Get Moving, and work through that lesson and through your first few programs. And then when you're finished, you're going to click on unit plans, and that's where you're going to do moves and turns, and that's also where you're going to do grab and release. Again, if you're confused, ask your classmates. There'll be someone in the class who has done this and can help you. If you're not sure how to start a new project, if you go back to the home page, there's always a new project here. So if you're ready to go forward for 84 centimeters or you're ready to do some of the missions on the playing field, this is where you're going to start your new project. Make sure to name it so that you can keep track of your work. Under announcements on Toddle, you'll find some of the competition resources. So if you're at the level where you're finished with all your work and you really want to get a head start on the competition, you can start clicking through the links here under announcements and start working on building programs for these missions. This is an example of the robot mat. This is one of the first links, and it gives you an example of different missions and how many points. Again, watch the video so you know what you're doing before you start your missions. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them on Thursday or Friday when I see you next. All right, so there's some options for work time today. You're going to make sure that you stay focused during class so you don't end up with extra homework or fall behind in your robot programming. If you have questions, I may be able to check email while I'm gone, so you can email them to me. But again, your classmates are your resources. All right, have a great day.